I felt so seen with this book. Hey guys, what's up? It's Ashley. Welcome back to my channel. Mother's Day is this weekend. I am a mom, so I thought it would be fun to give you single mom romance recommendations. Alright, so if I have mentioned once or twice on my channel, I met my husband when he was a single father, and so single parent trope is one of my favorites. There's just something extra about it because when you're falling in love with your partner, you also have to fall in love with the children that come with them. And I just think it just adds so much more to the story. And so I picked some of my favorite single mom books, and I hope some of them are new for you to enjoy. If you have any more that I don't include, please drop them down below. But without further ado, here are those recs. Okay, the first book I have, Ghosted by J.M. Darhower. I love this one. I read it in February, and it's still one of my favorite 5-star reads of this year. It is a second chance romance between Kennedy and Jonathan. They fell in love in high school and just fell so madly in love with each other that Kennedy was willing to drop out of high school with Jonathan when he decided to leave to go to LA to pursuing an acting career. And she left school with him and she lived with him for a few years. She worked a lot of jobs to help support his dream. And then he just got further and further down the hole of being famous and getting into addictions and substance abuse. And when Kennedy finds out that she's pregnant, Jonathan's just kind of so far gone that he doesn't care. And thus they break up. Kennedy moves out and she moves back to their hometown across the country in New York. And so our story picks up in the present. It does flash back and forth with the past, so you can kind of see how their relationship formed, how they fell in love, and how things really went to shit once they got to LA. I really liked how the past was told because it's told in these journal entries from Kennedy writing a story, so it's really quick and easy for you to get through if you don't like flashback chapters. But I really loved this story because Jonathan was a mess. Obviously, he's an addict. He's trying to get over substance abuse. He knows he has a daughter, but he's never met her. He has sent his child support payment checks. Kennedy never cashes them because she just doesn't want anything from him. And at the beginning of the story, Jonathan happens to be back in New York filming a movie. He's wrapping up a superhero trilogy. It's almost done, and he actually gets injured while filming, forcing him to kind of lie low for a month before they can finish wrapping up the movie. And during this time, he decides to look up Kennedy and kind of see what's going on. And I do really like, though, how Kennedy was willing to give him a second chance. She wasn't slamming doors in his face the whole time. I really, really enjoyed Jonathan trying to connect and get a relationship with their daughter, Maddie. There were some really cute, fun scenes there. But overall, I just really liked it. I used to not like second chance romances, but lately, they've just been hitting me different. I think that just the angst and the tension is so sky high, but I definitely love this one when it comes to single moms. Then we have The Air He Breathes, or The Air We Breathe by Brittany. I read this one almost 2 years ago, so I don't remember a whole lot of it, but I do remember enough to recommend it for you. So this is going to be a story where both of our main characters are overcoming grief because prior to the story starting, both of them happen to lose their spouses in some horrific ways. And our male MC, he happened to be the really unlucky one, and he lost his wife and his child in the same accident. And our female heroine, she only lost her husband, but she still has her daughter. So then you're going to flash forward sometime, and basically our male MC, he moves into the neighborhood, and they have a very enemies relationship at first. There's a lot of banter. They don't like each other. And, you know, he sees her daughter and he is scared to get close because he just sees his son who is gone and he doesn't have him anymore. I will say that there is definite romantic suspense in here because of some things that are going on behind the scenes. But I really did enjoy the story. It was very heartbreaking and intense, but I really loved just to see how two people lost everything, how they can come together and try to form something new from that. Then we have 1% of You by Michelle Gross. I read this last summer, really enjoyed it. The cover was kind of scaring me away because it's just not the best cover in the world, but ignore that. It's still a great book. This is going to follow a single mom, and at the very beginning of the story, she finds out that she's pregnant again, and she's so excited. This is something her and her partner have been planning, and so to share the news with him, she decides to leave work early that night. And when she gets home, their daughter is in the living room, and she says the daddy is in the back bedroom with mommy's cousin. So you're gonna flash forward some months, and our heroine is very heavily pregnant now, and she has kicked her partner to the curb, as she should, and he is not helping parent anymore. He's just being a bum, you know, leeching off of his parents, but also guilting her at the same time, saying, you need to come put our family back together. This is bad. You need to come back to me. We need to have our family together. And anyway, so she is struggling in this apartment with her daughter. Like I said, she's very heavily pregnant, and there is a house across the street from the apartments. She's been wanting to save up to buy it for some time, but she missed out on it, and a new guy moves in, and he is a very grumpy, tattooed man, and they meet at the grocery store one night because he is trying to get a bag of chips, and there's only one bag left, and he ends up fighting her daughter over it. I will say this is one of those stories where he really, really does not make a good first impression on our heroine, because he takes a look at her with her daughter pregnant in the grocery store, and he automatically assumes welfare. Oh my God, you don't work, you don't do anything, you're just leeching off of society. And so it really, really sets it up for some great banter, but I really loved the direction the story went. He was just one of those heroes that would do anything for our heroine. I really enjoyed the banter between him and her daughter. It was just, it's always fun when you have a single parent trope book, and for me, what makes them hit or miss is how the children act. Sometimes children in books can be cringy because they're written to act a certain way that they don't actually act that way in real life. Okay, trust me, I have 2 children, and sometimes the things that kids do and say in books, like sometimes they get very philosophical. No, that's not a thing, okay? If your kids are philosophical, great, but I have yet to meet any. But anyway, I loved the banter between them in this book. It was just great. It was a nice, easy read. I think it was just over 300 pages on KU. I have Wait For It by Mariana Zapata. Now, technically, Diana is not the mother of these boys, but she is their aunt, and her brother and sister-in-law are dead, and she's raising them. So by all intents and purposes, Diana is the mom in this book. So, like I said, prior to our story starting, Diana has gained custody of her 2 young nephews due to a tragic accident where she lost her brother and her sister-in-law. When the story starts, she's had them for about a year. They've recently moved into a new house in a nice neighborhood, and she's just trying to work day to day, get these boys to school, let them do their activities, and have a normal life. And she gets very much judged for going out in public, for taking them to baseball games because she's younger, and people automatically assume she's a teen mom, and so they don't treat her very well. The guy that lives across the street is Dallas, and Dallas is older than Diana, so you're gonna have an age gap. He is very grumpy, and he happens to be the Little League coach for Diana's oldest nephew. And I just love the setup of this story. I know some people didn't like this one because they thought there was too much baseball in it. However, if you are reading this for the single mom trope, it's perfect, because as a mom with a son who plays baseball, I felt so seen with this book. There's a lot of scenes where Diana is just miserable at these games because of all the snarky comments from the other moms, the judgments, and I understand that fully. Like I said, my husband was a single father when I met him, and he did have my stepson younger, and so when I'm always out with my kids, I get judged like that, and so it really was relatable to me. I was able to get in Diana's head with those moments, but let me tell you, the things that Dallas did for Diana and those 2 boys, he should get a medal for. So there is this one part in this book where they have a lice infestation with the boys, and Dallas goes above and beyond to help Diana with this situation. But I absolutely love this story. Diana was an absolute badass. I mean, she did not give up on those boys. Anytime she was hurt, heartbroken, things were hard, she did not stop. Those boys were her main priority. One thing that I really, really liked about this book also is even though Diana was constantly judged for her situation and how old she was, she never corrected people when they assumed her boys. She said, yeah, they're my boys. She never stopped and said, oh, I'm just their aunt. I didn't have them young. That didn't matter to her. Those were her boys, and she made that very well known. Then Letters to Molly by Devney Perry. This is also one of my favorite 5-star reads of this year. I absolutely loved it. Now, this is technically book 2 in a duet, but you don't need to read the first book to get the full gist of it. But basically, this is going to be a second chance at a marriage book. Molly and Finn, they have been divorced for 6 years. Their divorce was set up in the first book, so if you do want to get that context, you can. But basically, they were just having struggles. They had decided to separate, and during the separation, Molly got drunk at a bachelorette party, and she ended up hooking up with someone else, and even though they were separated at the time, Finn was staying somewhere else. He just couldn't get past that. He could never get over it. And so he ended up filing for divorce. You flash forward 6 years later, and these two are like the best co-parents. They're not fighting. They are doing the co-parenting thing really, really well. They're just trying to do everything they can for their 2 kids. What ends up happening is Molly starts to receive these letters from Finn. Finn had written these letters to Molly throughout different important stages of their life. He wrote her one the night they met, before they got married, when he was going to propose, all those types of things. But it was something private for him. He wrote them and kept them in a box. He was never going to mail them. And so Molly starts receiving them, and it just really starts to reopen up old wounds that they had closed and never wanted to discuss. Finn happens to get injured around the beginning of the book, and so he has to move in with Molly so she can help take care of him. So you're going to have a lot of forced proximity there. But I absolutely enjoyed this story. It was probably my favorite Devney Perry book I have ever read. I think because of the fact that I'm married, these characters were older, the co-parenting, I just really appreciated this. This is one of those books that is really going to make you look at your spouse in a whole new way and think, wow, you're really here. You do these things for me. And this book was so special. I absolutely loved it, so I had to include it on this list. Then I have Dirty Curve by Meagan Brandy. This is my favorite baseball romance that I have read. It is a college romance, and what makes this fun is that technically you don't know that our female main character has a child until a little bit way through, but the reason I'm telling you this is because you can see baby booties on the cover. So yeah. Anyway, so our male MC, he is quite the playboy. He is a pitcher for the team, and he is just not doing well in school. So his coach is forcing him to get a tutor. His coach assigns him this tutor personally, and she, like I said, because she's a single mom, she works a bunch of jobs. She's trying to finish school. She doesn't have any help from her baby daddy, and so she is quite literally a hot mess on their first tutoring session. She makes it very well known to him that she has time for nothing else. Basically, like the 2-hour slot they have for tutoring, that's it. She can't go over. She can't be there early. Like, this is it. She won't even look at him, make eye contact with him. She's so focused on what she's doing. He takes that personally and is offended and is like, why are you not checking me out? Everybody else does. But like I said, he's so interested and intrigued with her with the fact that she is just so busy and chaotic and, like I said, a hot mess. He ends up following her home from work one night just to make sure she's safe. And there he discovers that she has a 1-year-old baby daughter. And the way that he inserts himself into this situation, he goes above and beyond for them. He helps take care of them, and he refers to them as his girls. And I just absolutely love the story. It was really good. I also really enjoyed the drama with our female main character, and when you find out all of the baby daddy situation stuff, it just made for a good, fun drama read. And the last one on this list that I am going to include is Meet Me Halfway. I am currently reading this and I am really enjoying this. It reminds me a little bit of Wait For It just because of how the book is set up. So this is going to follow Madison, and she became pregnant at 16 and she has an 8-year-old son, Jamie, who she is raising by herself. She has recently moved into a new duplex, and the guy next door is 11 years older than her, and he is quite a grumpy asshole. This is going to be another situation where, like, 1% of you, he sees her and just assumes welfare, you do not work, oh my god, why do we have all these women like this in the world? And like I said, he is such an ass. He flat out tells her he thinks that she doesn't work and she's just like leeching off of society. And so I really liked the banter. I really liked his grumpiness. Like I said, I'm still reading this, but I absolutely love the direction that this is going. This is single POV, so it really does feel like you're kind of reading a Mariana Zapata in that sense, because like I said, he is so grumpy, and we're getting a lot of scenes of describing him like getting really frustrated, clenching his jaw, dropping a mug when she tells him something he doesn't want to hear. And so once things start happening, which they are, it's just very worth it, and I absolutely love it. I also want to say that her son Jamie is very, very overprotective of her, because she has a little bit of a situation going on with her ex-husband, who is not her baby daddy. Like, there's a whole situation there because her baby daddy didn't want the baby. She met another guy that did. That relationship didn't work out, where he was actually kind of abusive, and so because of that, Jamie is very protective of his mom, so he doesn't want Garrett, our main character, around at all. But I am loving this story. I'm loving the banter. It's just a fun, nice, quick read. All right, so those are going to do it for some of my single mom recommendations. If you have any more that I did not include on this list that you think I would like, please drop them down below. Like I said, I absolutely love the single parent trope. It hits me every single time. But I hope everyone has a wonderful Mother's Day and is enjoying this weather. Summer is finally around the corner. But as always, don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!